Now I come to something very interesting. The tomb of Tutankhamun is a miserable little tomb in Egyptian terms. And it's divided into two halves. And in one half was all loaded, just thrown in as though in a junk shop, all this gorgeous stuff. And the reason it was all there was that nobody seems to have thought it worth trying to rob that tomb. Right next door is the tomb of Seti I, which is about as big as any one of these buildings here. And every bit of it engraved and painted with, oh my, these tombs, you can't believe it. And the art is perfect. And they were made never to be seen. There was a kind of reality there. I mean, there's a concretization you get in the Egyptian thing, a kind of reality there that endured. And the soul's, one aspect of the soul, the Ba, remained in that tomb. Well, his coffin and so forth itself in that tomb had a very interesting symbolic form. There were three rectangular boxes, one inside the other in the way of a Chinese box, gold-plated and so forth. And then within the boxes would be a great stone coffin sort of thing, and within that two sarcophagi. One of them, the outer one, of precious wood, inlaid with gold and lapis lazuli in the form of the young pharaoh. There's the Uraeus serpent. Here are the two signs of his shepherdship. And then within that, a coffin of solid gold. Again, in the form of the pharaoh. This gorgeous thing, that's solid gold. And in those days, this meant the lives of hundreds and hundreds of people who'd been mining the gold. Now, when I saw that, and I've noticed many, many parallels between Egyptian symbology and the mystical philosophy of India, something occurred to me. And I'm just going to offer it as a suggestion, that these three boxes and the two sarcophagi inside the stone coffin represent what in India are called the five sheaths. S-H-E-A-T-H-S, the five sheaths that enclose the Atman, enclose the self, the transcendent mystery. Since I'm going to be talking about Hinduism a little bit, it'd be worth speaking of these five sheaths. The first sheath is called the sheath of food, Annamaya Kosha. That's what our body is made of. It's made of food, and when you die, it becomes food for the worms, the vultures, the jackals, or the fire. The second sheath is Pranamaya Kosha, that is the breath, the sheath of breath, which ignites the food, oxidation, burns, gives heat, temperature, and life. The third sheath is Manomaya Kosha, the mental sheath. Now, this mentality is in touch with the food sheath. And when the food sheath is in pain, it feels pain and thinks, oh, all is sorrowful. And when the food sheath is happy, it's happy too. The mental sheath is oriented to the food and breath sheaths. This is what I think is represented in the three rectangular boxes. Then we have a long gap. And I think this may be what is represented by the stone coffin, or maybe not. Maybe the stone coffin represented the next sheath, but I think more likely the wooden sarcophagus did. The next sheath is known as Vijnanamaya Kosha, the sheath of wisdom. This is the wisdom of the body, the wisdom that shaped you in the mother womb. The wisdom that knew the moment you were born how to nurse. The wisdom that brings up the grass and informs the trees and the mountains and the universe. The wisdom of the body. That spontaneous thing on which the mentality rides and which the mentality has to know about. We've had breakfast. Our body is digesting that breakfast. I dare say there isn't a soul in this room who would know mentally what the chemistry of the breakfast requirements were for digestion this morning. And yet you're doing it. Who else? And that's your wisdom body. And then what do you think? Beneath the wisdom body Anandamaya kosha, the sheath of bliss. Life is the manifestation of rapture. And this poor mental sheath up here gets all tied up with what's happening to the food body. And it thinks, oh dear, all life is sorrowful. Suppose every 2 weeks on a lawn, somebody goes over the lawn with a lawnmower. Suppose the grass were to think, well, what's the use? These are the two completely different orientations. And the mental sheath has to do with ethics, good and evil, light and darkness, pain and pleasure. The wisdom sheath knows that there's something before that, and it's rapture. So that's what you are, really. You're rooted in rapture. And even in your pain, in your great anguish, in your sorrow, if you know where the rapture door is, you can realize that this is life's rapture. And where the pain is, there's the life. This is the kind of stuff that we have in these heroic mythologies. Now we come to